Hello everyone, and welcome to a new series from MMAC, Take 10. We'll get to know business and community leaders who are playing a significant role in building the future of Milwaukee, our region, and the state of Wisconsin. We'll dig into their big picture perspective on the opportunities and the threats we face as a region. I'm Chris Jenkins, MMAC's Director of Communications, and our guest today is Kathy Henrich, CEO of the MKE Tech Hub. Kathy, to start off, first of all, welcome, and tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization.
Well, thank you very much, Chris, for having me. First of all, Kathy Henrich, long-term resident of the Milwaukee region. I've been here over 30 years, but I've been working for large companies. I spent almost 30 years running big companies within IBM, about $500,000 organizations. And I did this crazy path and decided to go back, get my master's in workforce and talent development, and help companies as they went through digital transformation to bring this talent along with that. And in that pathway, was able to do some volunteer work and eventually become CEO of the MKE Tech Hub Coalition. The MKE Tech Hub Coalition is a nonprofit focused on inclusively doubling tech talent in the Milwaukee region in order to really drive enduring economic prosperity here in the region and to create life-changing jobs for individuals. We do that very holistically in collaboration with partners like the MMAC, but working really to drive the image of the region as a tech region, to grow the startup ecosystem and to recruit tech companies here to the region, while matching that with the appropriate supply from K through 20 reskilling and the attraction and retention of individuals to the region.
Great. One of the first questions we ask in this interview series is, what's the biggest challenge we need to address in Milwaukee? And talent certainly comes to the top whenever we would talk to any company representative. And it's not just the broader idea of having enough people, it's people with the right skills. And is that what you're seeing as well?
It is. It's one of them. I think having the right skill sets, and we did some surveys data last year, and we looked at tech skills and what was missing here in the region. And what we were hoping to find is essentially excess tech skills that we could reskill. Unfortunately, there's gaps across the board, right? Especially in cloud and data and software development, et cetera. But it's actually reflective of the country as well, right? We're not actually all that unique in that. And so we do have this kind of unique challenge to not only recruit people here to the region, but also develop our own talent. And that's a key thing. But when I also think of challenges or things we have to think about, I think we also have to think about what are our big bets that we're making here in the region, right? In terms of a growth mindset. And I think, if anybody's been part of a shrinking organization or a shrinking region, it can be pretty miserable, right? It's a kind of every man for himself, let's figure out the scraps. But when we think about it from the terms of a growth mindset, and there is so much opportunity here in tech, that when we invest in the right areas like tech and advanced manufacturing, that actually helps us in a lot of different places, right? It helps us grow economically, which also helps us with issues like, as diversity in our tech workforce, et cetera. So, we need to really be thinking about how we invest strategically for major growth.
Absolutely. On the other side of that, what makes you optimistic about the future of Milwaukee?
One of the things that I'm really optimistic is the fact that we are starting to make some of those investments, right? And we are starting to see that. I mean, even the creation of the MKE Tech Hub Coalition was really an investment in the future of the region. And I think the other thing that makes me really optimistic is it's a very collaborative region. I have to admit, having spent my time outside mostly and now coming back, it's a welcome change in that it is a very collaborative environment, one where people are willing to work together and help one another achieve goals and objectives. And I really see that as kind of an opportunity for all of us as we go forward to come together and advance on some of these big goals, as an economic region And in our space specifically, it's education, it's the corporations, it's the governments, it's economic development, it's the nonprofits. And when we do that, we can be successful.
All right, now let's get to the fun part. If somebody's coming from out of town and visiting Milwaukee, what's one thing they can't miss? And let's maybe imagine a post-pandemic world.
Yeah, I think, I don't think you can miss the art museum. I mean, it's just such a technological wonder. But I'm personally a fan of the lakefront and the river walk and, the ability to get on boats, etc. We're just so fortunate here to live on the water and frankly do it at an affordable price point.
Right. What is your favorite local restaurant and what should I order when I go there?
Well, I have to admit, this is an area that I have mostly done takeout since the pandemic. I have yet to get into a restaurant, but and I do live up in West Bend. So the Norbert, if you're up here, is a fabulous one for takeout. And most people go there and they love the lobster mac and cheese. I happen to love the spinach salad.
Nice. What was your first job and what did you learn from it?
It's interesting. When I think about first job, I actually started working about 10 years old, believe it or not. By the time I was in third grade, I had bought my own piano and was paying for my own piano lessons.
Oh, okay.
So when I think about, I didn't grow up in a family that had a lot of money. And so I think what that teaches you is really that value of hard work and the ability to achieve if you put your heart to it. But it's so interesting. Every job teaches you something. I became a waitress and I was horrible at it. But, if you treat people well, they treat you well in return. Right. And I worked in a factory and I have to admit that I learned that I really do not like routine tasks. But so every one of those kind of jobs, I think, teaches you as you go forward into your career. And it's so important that, we have the opportunity for our youth to work early on.
Absolutely. What's the last book you read or one you're reading right now, and what's a takeaway from it?
I actually have one by my side. I always have The Startup Community Way. And the thing I found really interesting about that book is that it talks about having all of the components to really grow your startup ecosystem, right? You need the research from the research institutions. You need the support organizations. You need people taking risks. You need the venture capital. But what's interesting is we have all those components here in Milwaukee. What is actually, though, the most important is the connections between all of those. And that was one of the things that I really took away is how do we systematically and efficiently create connections between individuals to be able to propel us faster.
Great lesson. What's a show I should stream?
Oh, the one that came to mind for me, I think it's called Upload, is on Amazon. And it really is about young man dies early and you have the ability through AI to upload and live in eternity. And, it's one of those things that, really challenges your thinking about the future because we could do that, right? And start to think about that. And it really starts to become a matter of, that ethics component of technology plays into it. And that really challenges, at least it was entertaining, but it also challenged my thought process as to how do we make sure that we're making the right decisions as well as we go forward.
What is your favorite inspirational quote?
The one that I think about quite a bit is, and this is an African proverb, I think, but it's together we can go far, or if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And I think that really fits what we're trying to achieve here in the Tech Hub Coalition is that we know that, doubling tech talent and doing that inclusively is a big audacious goal, right? The only way you do that is if we're collectively moving forward as a region with all parties contributing.
What's one thing people might not know about you?
Oh, I don't, well, one thing that probably don't know about me is I've actually owned several businesses throughout my life as well, including some commercial real estate. Right now, we actually have a bank building with an old vault that is temporarily in the pandemic converted into a hitting zone for baseball. So right. That's probably really unique.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Kathy, for your time today. And for our audience, you can watch additional Take 10 episodes on MMAC's YouTube channel, in our email newsletter, and on our social media channels. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.